When it feels like the crypto market is in a boring territory, that is exactly when you should be focusing on the price action, because that is exactly where some big movements comes out of the market, whether it's to the downside or to the upside. But these charts does show us something which has happened historically, not once or twice, many different times. So this time we would look for something similar. The results should be same if the procedure is same. So when we look at this, these are some of the good news in the market. Now, we know this is just some coincidence, but each and every single time that worked, inverse grammar worked. And I'm like, okay, maybe altcoin is here. We're going to watch them exploding. Now, on the fundamental side, we understand things are positive. We understand, yeah, the macro, the fundamentals, everything is aligning perfectly. We are getting the media attention. The crypto market is getting the media attention. And that's one of the primary reasons why we are entering to that greed territory. Now, yeah, you will go greedy at one point from that fearful side. And when people go greedy, extreme greed, that's where you should be worried about a correction. Now, earlier this day, we talked about the possibilities. We discussed through some of these, saying there is a big opportunity evolving here. Now, after that, we saw AKT ranking higher. It just went up 35% for the day. And it was actually correcting through. So the narrative of an altcoin season coming in does look like some kind of a possibility. We are actually watching some of these coins in the market taking off. So we are focusing on these, trying to give you guys the right opportunity, to give you guys the right perspective about all these assets. The macro understanding is important. Now, what exactly is the payment tokens doing, especially the XRP, the XLM stuff, when compared to the Bitcoin market? And what do we see here? We're going to break that down. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Right now, we are watching that the market is heavily volatile. A lot of other assets are slowing down or correcting down. And the other side shows, okay, we have already done our correction. We're going through to the upside. So you are watching different segments in the market moving. That's exactly why we were going through these sessions of Ask for TA to look for which asset is showing a higher probability. Now, if you want to take part in that, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below, in YouTube, and in bio if it's in Twitter. Now, if you jump on looking at XRP and XLM, say we do have a pattern formation. This is XLM on a daily chart. So if you want a little bit zoomed out view, this is what you get. 3-day chart kind of gives you the idea of what the price is doing. You have the support, you have the resistance. Now, it's all clear that is now a support. You're kind of working out one pattern here. What is that? And that is one of the primary reasons I would say, okay, look for this. We're getting a resistance. We're trying to make a pattern here. And if this becomes true, that means you have a possibility of market moving this as your measured move to the upside. So what exactly is that? Here, XLM shows you there is a probability of a 30% run up, which is not a bad deal considering where we are right now. So if you actually plot that 30, you'll reach here. And from the current price, it would look like a 50% run up, which would be like trying to putting in a new local high, which is actually positive, because when you remove all this and look at, okay, what do I see here in the price action? What can I watch in the price action? It's a change in momentum. This time, it is positive. The change in momentum is to the upside, which is great for all of us. Now, you take your attention into crypto market, which is XRP side of things. We're like, okay, we're still here. We're coming back to retest that. But while we are there, keep an eye focused here, what does the price action shows you? It is showing you that the price actually reached this territory. And if you watch, you'll understand the fact that we actually had two candles to the upside. So the bulls were strong. But for the same territory to correct back down, now you have 4 different candles. And it's a 3-day chart. So keep that in mind. Just 6 days to the upside, but right now 12 days to the downside. So the bears look really weak, and the probability of that going back up is much, much higher. Now, when we take that into the RSI side of things, RSI kind of put in that idea. Look at this. We literally had all these times when we bounced off this range, whether to the upside or to the downside. So right now, when you focus on the price action, we can actually, agree on one thing. We may actually test this and bounce off. That is a bigger possibility on a 3-day chart. So if you zoom out, you'll get a macro picture. If you zoom in, you're looking for what's happening on a short-term narrative. On a short term, it does show you like, okay, Bitcoin is breaking its RSI to the downside. XRP is reaching that point where it is like, okay, I may break this to the downside. I really want to liquidate some people. So we want to see, okay, what exactly is going to happen there. We've made the previous support as a resistance. So now we are reaching back, which is like 0.58. So from 0.6, if we do come back down to 0.58, I would personally expect some volatility, a wick towards 0.56 at least, which may actually kick out some people and allow some people to jump in on different trades. Now, this is actually based on what you can see in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is showing you on a daily chart, the RSI is breaking to the downside. So the trend line is showing you I'm slowing down. So if we go back, we had one time previously where we actually saw something like this. Now, it did not actually change the trend. You didn't actually come back down to this range. You did not come here. That was your trend line. You did not reach back to that line. That is something we need to keep in mind, which means this is your trend line. You're not actually coming back to this trend line, but still there is a possibility of you going back down to test your support range. So here it would be one of the best support ranges to explain 33,800 towards 32,200. These are like the key ranges to keep our eyes focused on. We don't know if we are going to come back to this range or just bounce inside that price action. Right now, if you look at the first support range, now if we remove all this to make things a little bit more clear, we can put the argument like, okay, if we do come back down, we may have to touch 35,554. That is going to be the first key support. Remember, 35,550 is going to be your key range. So if you put in 35K and say, okay, I'm going to look for this range to buy in, that can be a risky decision unless it is showing you a candle of confirmation, unless it's showing you a confirmation candle. If it does come in, then it's okay. You're going to ride this to the upside. If you're a trader, you pick it up at this bottom, you ride it to the upside. But your risk level is going to be super high. Because if you want to understand what I'm talking about, you'll have to come on to a 3-day chart. On a 3-day chart, you don't have a divergence yet, right? You're still trending, which is completely fine. We have seen a lot of these reversals short term while the price was doing this, but it did not actually go down to that level. It went up. So if you come back down to your trend line at this level and bounce back, I would actually argue that is still something clearly positive in a trend where you're moving to the upside. Because keep this in mind, the big guys, they don't actually play a lot in the short-term scenario. They are looking at these assets in terms of the price action on a weekly to a monthly, the macro structure. They use these kind of volatility to kick a lot of young people out. You see this? If you look at this on a weekly and say that's a reversal signal, it was a reversal signal. But what happened? You went up. What the hell really did happen there. Because on a macro, if you look at this, you will put the argument, the big two structure here, the double bottom, was confirmed with a hidden bullish divergence. So it had the higher odds. Yes, you got this pattern here, which did not play out. So you will see a lot of different price action. You will see a lot of different trend inside. The job we have to do here is to understand which one has the higher odds. This is going to play a key role. Now, we all know, like, before the price actually takes off, it can kind of do these kind of things. It's normal. It's something we have seen almost all the time. You go do this stuff, you come back down, and then go back up. So that kind of washes out a lot of people. If that's true, then we'll have to actually put that argument and say, yeah, you know, that 35,700 towards 35,200, 35,000, it is going to be a good range to eye, because that happens to be a previous resistance, which is now turning into a new support zone. So if you zoom out to see what that range exactly means for the price action, you should actually say, okay, we kind of erased a lot of previous support resistant levels, and we are now testing onto this level, which is okay, which is not that strong compared to these two, which means the open level is 46. As soon as you get a bounce, you are looking for a big upside. Now for Bitcoin, we have a lot of institutions entering, which means they're not actually looking at your daily chart. Most likely they're focusing on the weekly chart. This matters. Whether a lot of people agree or not, this matters. Let me explain. If you actually look at this trend line, which is forming here, does that look bearish to you? For me, it does not. And I believe most of the SI family will agree on this point. We're kind of repeating the exact same thing. That is bullish in itself. We are trending to the upside. I mean, there is no other consolidation happening here. It was back in the days. Now you're trending higher. Look at that monthly. It's pointing you to the upside. So if that's true, you put this into a line chart to see what the trend looks like, and it kind of makes the entire point clear. This is your resistance. That's what is being tested. A break here kind of opens the room all the way up to 60,000. Whoa, that's insane. So you will have one minor resistance close to 45, 46,000, but the bigger ones are close to 60. Now you're at 36,000. That's a long way to the upside. History kind of gives us a long distance to the upside. It kind of shows each time you do some of these things in the market, it kind of takes you to a new level. So the RSI is agreeing on something. What is it? History repeats. The price is about to follow that. And when the price follows that, if Bitcoin is moving higher, you're going to again get all these media attention, whether it's the Bitcoin maxis going on to these mass media channel and putting all those rubbish out. Great. What we get is the media attention. What we see is a lot of new people jumping into this crypto asset. So short term, if you're trading the market, prepare for adjusting your risk tolerance properly so that your risk adjusted returns doesn't look really weird. Now, why am I taking so much time on Bitcoin? Because the Bitcoin move and the Bitcoin dominance kind of show you an idea of where altcoins are going. And that's where I'm like, okay, this pattern for me is super bullish. If the price of XRP comes to 0.56, I really don't care. I would put the argument, whether a lot of you agree or not, I personally think this is something which is coming in. The RSI on a short term shows you it is slowly rounding up. It is slowly rounding up. We have seen multiple things on different time horizons. So you kind of see these kind of price action playing in, and then we make a local bottom. But again, this is a short-term chart. You want to see the same structure on a macro. Do you see that? How clear should this be? You come back down, yeah, you bounce off, you come back down, then you bounce off. This is something we have seen historically. You don't directly go up, you bounce off, you do all this volatility before any kind of pump. whether that's a big rounded bottom or a small one, it always plays out like this. But at a time when you burst through these resistance and make a bubble territory, whether it's at your target, below it, or above it, it's your responsibility to identify that and jump out. And that's why in the SI family, we go through a lot of these details. That's why the SI family takes the one-on-one session with me, trying to discuss through what we can look for, what should we eye for, and what are the key signals we'll provide in the SI family when it's time to take the profit and run out. It's already 700 members. The family is growing so fast. People are taking advantage of calls like this. This is earlier today, just 7 hours ago. And right now the market is 35% up. And earlier today, we only put like 4 or 5 different charts. That's it. And you saw some of them already running higher. Right now, we are going through others to give you guys which chart you want. What are you really looking at? Do you see an opportunity there, or are you confused? If you are, then I go through that and break it down so you don't have a confusion. You can make the best educated decision for your asset. So if you received value, smash that like button for me. And if you're looking to join, please use that Patreon link in the description below. I'll meet you guys in the next video. Bye for now.